moral. Looks like Kristen Bell. Stuck with a punch.
Please, you have to come see it.
Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
My name is Olivia, and I am one of the co-producers of the Sitzprobe.
My name's Yanni, and I'm the other co-producer.
Okay, Olivia, what is Sitzprobe?
So the Sitzprobe is a showcase of 4 original student-written works, and these works are original musicals.
I forgot what the second part was. So what sets it apart from other productions?
Well, I think first of all, it's quite a large production because there's 4 shows, and even though they're quite short, it means that it's a huge company. So it provides a huge number of opportunities to new and emerging performers and backstage people and band as well. So what sets it apart is the fact that many people can get involved and have a go. Another thing that sets it apart is that because the shows are quite short, they're about 30 to 35 minutes each, it means that people who just want to have a go and step in a little bit without having to commit to a full-length show can use that as a really good opportunity to try it out and see if they enjoy it. Further, and finally, the Sitzprobe, because it's student-written and these shows are put on for the first time, a lot of that pressure of a professional performance is off the table. So it gives people a really good opportunity to try it out and enjoy it without having to worry about appearances and keeping up sort of that professional show.
That sounds really interesting. I would love to know more about the shows. So tell me about it.
So the first show featured in the Sitzprobe this year is Poppy Poems, written by Edie and directed by Alessio.
'Cause I'm a gentleman, not a gentleman. There's no music in the heat. Time doesn't move so slowly.
Poppy Poems is a really interesting piece because it is very reflective. It basically follows a bunch of young soldiers as they navigate World War I and their toiling families back home.
Gentleman, he ain't a gentleman. To the sea.
And Edie actually wrote it based on and interpreting historical records, and all of the songs are based on Australian poems.
Why bother being moral when you're standing in a town made of brothels? A soldier's farewell is hard and hearty.
So it really has a true blue Aussie spirit to it that I think doesn't get shown a lot in musical theatre.
Let's go out and win this war. We'll show these poems what it means to be an Australian.
The second show in our showcase is called Stuck in an Office, written by Harry and Jake and directed by Freya. This show has a lot of workplace drama, so it features a new character, Amelia, who joins an office for the first time. And her co-workers seem dull at first, and there's the typical workplace day ensues.
Ashton, I'm not really in the mood. You are if I say you are. My family owns 51% of this company.
Until a hurricane alarm goes off, which forces all of the office workers to stay indoors for the next 24 hours.
Sing and enjoy it.
And in this close proximity, the worst of these characters emerges, and they all become utter beasts.
I've spent the last 2 years of my life stuck in an office with a bunch of fuckwits. All the useless bickering and loathing, and I'd rather be outside in that fucking hurricane.
And show off their worst possible nature and make Amelia really question her life choices and her position within this company.
And you, get out while you can.
The third show in our showcase is called Something Borrowed, Something Blue, written and directed by Ethan and assistant directed by Alex. This show is based on an Australian family wedding, and it explores the interpersonal family dramas that emerge when a family that is partly estranged and each has their own issues is brought together by a wedding and forced to interact and explore their connections and their lack of connections over the years. I think this piece really highlights family connections and the way that people interact with those closest to them, really, and the fact that you can't choose your family and yet you still have to interact with them afterwards. and further that this piece is a quintessentially Australian piece. It's based on an Australian wedding, and so it's important to recognise that it's grounded within our Australian context and has a lot of themes that resonate with many Australian people as well.
And the final show featured in the Sitzprobe this year is Quelched by Connor and directed by James. Quelched is a very interesting piece. It is very comedic. It centers around a boy very down on his luck named Phil, and he discovers and is introduced to a dating app called Quelched, where he is asked to solicit a picture of his genital regions, which then goes viral for looking like Christian Bale. It will be a lot of fun. Please, you have to come see it.
I'm Nishka. I'm the president of UMMTA for 2025. My role as president entails setting goals for the company, facilitating all of the different things that we do, making sure that all of our productions are running smoothly, being involved in some of the productions as well, and just overall creating a good atmosphere for everyone in our community. So one of my biggest goals as president this year has been to create a really inclusive environment for people, whether they have been a part of musical theatre before or not. And I feel like the Sitzprobe is a really great way for that to come to fruition, because you can really get involved no matter what your experience level, whether you want to be on the prod team and make sets. There's 4 different shows you can be involved in, whether you want to be on the creative side or the design side. There's just so much you can do. So I really think that that's come to life, and there's so many people on the team, so it's great. I really hope that audiences just love everything that we've put into this. I hope that budding writers and musicians are able to see what they could potentially do in future Sitzprobes if they wanted to. And I want everyone to just have a really good time. It's just, they're such good shows. They're really, really fun.
Hello, I am Josh Drake and I'm the musical director of the Sitzprobe 2025. What does a music director do, and how does music directing the Sitzprobe differ from music directing other productions?
Rah 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 rah, banjo, bring.
Musical director is chiefly involved with interpreting the music. So normally that's kind of a matter of just interpreting the score in the same way that, if a director, an actor will interpret the text, make acting decisions, make staging decisions, the musical director is making decisions based off what they're given on the score, which sometimes feels a bit less, it feels like there's a little bit less give than, when you just have the stage as your canvas, you've still got to stick to the notes, but things like tempo and dynamics is really the chief decisions you'd make. And then a big one is vocals and how the vocalists go about performing the material.
Banjo!
How important is the music team in bringing the Sitzprobe to life? I would say very important. I'm a little bit biased, but I think these are all original works. Half of a new musical is really the music, so workshopping the music has been really important. We had a whole workshopping process. We brought in a lot of people to sing through the material, to change some things, see if things were working.
What has been your favorite part of music directing so far?
Well, I would say it's been orchestrating all the material. So we've kind of received a range of different demos and what the kind of writers have given the music department. And then we've got a 15-piece theatre orchestra, which we're orchestrating out to. And that's my favorite part of the process, is kind of really bringing it all to life. Normally the orchestrator and the musical director are kind of 2 distinct roles, but because of the nature of this being original, and we have to really combine that. And what's great is we've got 4 different shows with really distinct sounds. We've got a more, that range from kind of a more contemporary pop MT sound, and then kind of a more old kind of traditional legit sound. So there's a lot of fun to play with different sounds, both with the vocalists and the orchestra.
Who is the music team actually comprised of?
Well, we have 4 of us. I have my wonderful vocal director, Mia Mazzarella, who's really in charge of the cast, where now I'm kind of taking charge of the ensemble. And so she gives all vocal direction. We also have a music assistant who's helping us with copying and also teaching, and an assistant musical director who is now playing bass, but also has assisted in kind of the development of the orchestrations and now in the rehearsing of the band.
So our role as producers for the Sitzprobe has been quite a big role. Normally the role of the producer is just to facilitate the creativity of the production and to articulate their creative vision in a way that means that everyone can bring it to life. But with the Sitzprobe, because there's 4 shows, essentially that has meant that our job is tying together the shows with themes and working on the shows individually to bring them to a standard where they can form part of a showcase instead of being individual shows.
Yeah, and this year we really wanted to place a lot more emphasis on the development process. So we did what we call called a workshop model, initially not even really knowing what that would be. But our job as producers has been to develop the works, workshop the works, edit the works, and make sure that by the time cast was onboarded, everything was pretty much as finalized as it can possibly be, so that everyone can have the smoothest experience possible, especially because the Sitzprobe is basically a vehicle for new voices. So, to sort of take away that intimidation of being a part of a new show, we wanted a very polished show, and I think we're going to have it.
So, Olivia and Yanni, what has been your favorite part of producing the Sitzprobe?
For me, I think it's kind of twofold. One, I have never been a part of a project from its conception to its final product. I've always been interviewed, never been on the other side actually interviewing and seeing through, like, basically every creative process through to its fulfillment. So that has been super exciting. But the other part is just, this is such an exceptional team, not just in terms of talent, although there's a lot of talent, but also just in terms of passion and commitment. I really can't imagine having worked with a better team or a better co-producer. Over to you, sir.
I don't think I can beat that. I'll just echo your sentiments and say that, yeah, I think it's been fantastic, encouraging the best out of our team and seeing them really fulfill their potential. And it's wonderful to see as someone who's facilitating that, to watch people achieve everything that they wanted to achieve. It's a fantastic feeling.
And you should definitely come see the show.
Definitely.
Bye!
I reckon that's us done.
I'm gonna run now.
Yes, you should.